Hey everyone. All right, so we're going a little early here. I'm ready to go. Sorry for the late stream. Was doing the inputting of the data for Marathon, Terawulf as well. They reported their quarterly results, and then also was listening to the conference calls from those guys. So we'll talk about all that. Obviously, a wild ride today. Bitcoin reached a new all-time high of 90,100, and it pulled back. So I think it's a healthy pullback that we're having right now. We'll see how long it lasts. And what else do we have to talk about? I think that's about it. So then we'll get into you guys' Q&A side of things here. It should be pretty fun and easy. As always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. Full disclosure down below. As always, and then if you like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, like I said, had a wild ride today. It was down. It was up. Man, it definitely did not disappoint us today. We hit 90,100 on the high today. We closed at approximately 88,035 and some change at that point. Miners, for the most part, were down for the day, except for a couple that were actually up on the day, which was kind of nice to see as well, especially one of them. But Bitcoin, you can see here today, has been battling with the 90,000 mark a couple times here throughout today, and I think a little bit more so today. But it got closer a couple times here, even yesterday, I think it was. Was it today? Today as well, in the morning hours and then in the afternoon hours as well. And it finally broke through that and got to 90,100. So we reached a new all-time high, which is great. We're having a little pullback right now, which I think is also healthy. We're getting close to the 20 or 200 moving average on the 15-minute chart. RSI is looking pretty good. It's coming back down, which is nice to see. 1 hour chart is looking pretty good as well. We're close to the 50 moving average on that one, and we might bounce off of that. We'll see. RSI is also looking pretty good. 4 hour chart. We got a little overheated, but we were coming down still, but price went up here. So that was kind of nice to see that we have still some strength here happening in Bitcoin. And then looking at the daily, we obviously looked at that already. But the miners had, for the most part, were down a little bit. Some were down more in the morning hours. Some of them were down like 8-9%, and they kind of reversed the trend a little bit as Bitcoin was going up into the afternoon hours, which was nice. We did end up with Bitfarms being up 189 on the day. BitDigital was up also a little bit, 1.85. And then we had Cleanspark actually finishing up just a little bit in the green, 0.11% on it. Mara was also up a little bit, 0.88, and I think Mara was down in the after hours. Last time I checked, it was like down 5%. I don't know where it's at right now. Riot was down as well. Wolf was down. All these guys were down. The rest of the guys were down as well. Some of the smaller miners actually did pretty good today. Any was up 8% for some reason. Argo was up 3.8. Digihost was down 6. DMG was down 15. There was some news story that came out for DMG. I did not get a chance to check that out. Mawson was up 2.3, and SDIG Stronghold was up just 1.2 as well. And then the ETFs were actually down today. All right. Let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick as well. See where that's standing right now. On the 7-day average, it's come down a little bit here. And yesterday to 731 exahash. On the 30-day average, it went up. It's still continuing to go up here. We are at 718 exahash right now, and we're only in the beginning of November here. So, like I said before, I think we're still going to get to approximately 800 to 900 exahash by the end of the year if things continue the way that they are going. And then let's take a look at the hash price here. How's that stacking up? Let me refresh this, make sure we get the latest data on it. This is the 1 month, and then we got this in BTC. I want to see this in USD. Okay. So we kind of peaked at 57. This was today as well, 57.92. So that's good. It's coming back down a little bit as Bitcoin price has been coming down, but that should continue to go up as Bitcoin goes up as well. So that'll be fun. Okay. Now, Bitcoin, how's it doing so far for November? Still pretty good. 24.38% up on the month. Looking pretty good so far. We'll see if we can get that closer to like 40%, maybe 50% by the end of the month here, depending how things progress for us. Okay. So the couple of stories that we do have here, Marathon announced their quarterly results as well as Terawulf. I did listen to the quarterly results, the conference calls for both of these guys here. I found it funny. Both companies were kind of bashing, well, not directly each other companies. Marathon was bashing companies that are going into HPC AI, and Terawulf was bashing companies that are, basically Bitcoin miners, and that's all that they are. A little bit, but it wasn't directly at any point at anybody, but they were bashing him on profitability, things like that. Whereas Marathon was bashing him on just the huge costs that are associated with HPC AI and how the revenues have been falling on like the H100s. Those are the NVIDIA chips or the NVIDIA GPUs. And yeah, we've seen that in Marathon. Fred said that they are down like 75%, I think he said, somewhere around there. So that was interesting to note. But let's get into Marathon here first. I'll give you guys my thoughts of the conference call as well. I have only a couple of thoughts on it, on that one. But not much information here in their press release. All their information was in the actual 10K filing, right? 10Q filing. So I pulled on all the information in from that. And let's take here's their presentation deck here for Q3 2024. I'm not going to go through this in detail. You guys can definitely check this out at your own leisure when you have time. One thing that I did note is during the conference call, somebody asked Fred about additional expansion on other sites and the sites that they did get. Fred mentioned at that time that they are not interested in anything under like 100 megawatt sites right now, which I thought was kind of interesting because they actually have this in here as well, where they have some smaller sites here, right? They're talking about these stranded gas sites, stranded methane as well. And where was it over here? They said it's not over here. Okay, here it is. Launched a 25 megawatt micro data center operation across wellheads in Texas and North Dakota. Okay, so it's kind of like you're doing this, but you're saying that you're not interested in bigger sites, or you're not interested in smaller sites, you're only interested in bigger sites. Kind of double speak there a little bit, it seemed like. What else do we have here? That was kind of interesting, I thought. A lot of good information in here nonetheless. They did state, where was it? I think they put it down here someplace, energized hash rate. As far as their cost to mine Bitcoin here, energized hash rate, I thought I saw it over here someplace. I think they said that they're like at 30 revenues adjusted beta. They're up 21 million here in Q3. Net income loss, 124 million. We'll talk about that here in a second. Let's see, cost per petahash chart, 37. So they are improving on their operations as far as costs are concerned, which is good to note. And then return on capital employed. What else? Stock performance. That's kind of interesting. I got to drill down more into this to see how that's coming up here. Bitcoin yield through 930. More increases PGM. Okay, that's with the sites in Ohio here. Where was it? I must have missed it. It was up there. They said I think their cost to mine a Bitcoin was like 30-some thousand, whereas I'm showing like around 50,000, something like that. But that might be including some stock-based compensation in there, maybe in there. But we'll get through that. Let's take a look at them right now. So the shares did increase here to 321 million. It was about what was that increase? Sorry about all the scrolling back and forth here. Just data is kind of all over the place. So it was a 9.29% increase from Q2, right? So they had 294 million at the end of Q2, or when they reported actually. And now at the reporting date, I think this is as of today or yesterday, they had 321 million shares outstanding, so 9% increase on that. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been actually pretty, hasn't been bad, but it's been also pretty good. It's not as great as some of the other ones, but they're still up nonetheless, all in the green. We went over the hash rate for their operations for October already. We're not going to get into that right now. We'll go down to the quarterly results here. We did see revenue, and this is just revenue, I believe, for their self-mining through Mara Pool. They came in at 114.59 million. I'm currently estimating that they're going to be about 133 million, depending where Bitcoin goes for this month and next month as well. That could definitely rise for them, and depending on how much hash rate they increase and where the network hash rate actually goes, will have an impact on that. So we've seen a decrease in that, but it looks like now with Bitcoin going up, we might see starting to increase that again. So that's good. Last 4 quarters operating cost minus depreciation was 120, so that's been increasing as well, but that's mainly because they've been increasing their hash rate. And then here we go, cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation. I got a 50,000 roughly on that one. Bitcoin mine quarterly, that's been coming down and up a little bit here in Q3, so that's good. Debt to equity, lower is better. They're up a little bit here to 0.254. That's still really good though. And then current ratio, higher is better. They're at 4 now, so they still have 4 times the cash, plus they got a huge HODL position, which I think they put that in a different spot now. Otherwise, it would be much better on that. And you can see it here as a result. Total current assets, right, 239 million. They did have 1.6, but they moved things around on the balance sheet as far as where the Bitcoin HODL is placed at now. And then total current liabilities is only 59 million. So, like I said, healthy balance sheet, nothing to worry about there. Going down to the financials down here really quick. We'll look at some of these metrics or some of these calculations in a second here. Current assets, we talked about that. Cash and cash equivalents, quite a sizable decrease here, about 90 million roughly, decrease from prior quarter. Oh, what else? That was a sizable. Other receivables also decreased 2.7, so that was about 16 million decrease there. Prepaid expenses also went down approximately 12 million or so. So now they have total current assets of 239 million. And down here, they have, where was it at? It is right there. Digital assets. Okay. So they're putting that under other assets. 1.6 billion here. Property and equipment is now at 1 billion. And what else decreased here? Advances to vendors decreased 240 million from 385. Investments went up a little bit here to 154 from 116. What else? That was major. I think that was it. And then deferred taxes was 28 million here. Total other assets was 3.3 billion. So total came out to be 3.58 billion. Total assets, healthy as can be probably. Going down here, total current liabilities. Let's see if anything has really changed here. Some things did change here. Accounts payable went down to 12, so that's a decrease of about 16. Accrued expenses also went down to 36, so that's roughly, 31 million, roughly, 31 million. And then a derivative instrument that went up here to 6.2. They didn't have that with the prior quarter. Everything else stayed pretty close. Other current liabilities went up a little bit here, not much. So total current liabilities actually went down to about 16 million, so that's good. Total liabilities went to 724, and that is mainly because on convertible notes, right? They increased those to 618 million from 326. On that, that's okay. Those aren't due for a while, and they're also very low interest, I believe. Okay, revenues here. So mining operations, minus transaction fees, it was 2.8 million. Mining participant, 13.8. Hosting services was 341, and then total revenues from contracts with customers was 17 million. So that's all that included there, right? Is that right? Is that 17? Yeah, 17.053. And then mining operator, block reward, and other revenues. This is their main revenue here that they get was 114 million. Total revenue came in at 131 million. Okay, let's see. Cost of revenue came in at 120. And you can see that being broken down here. Energy and hosting was 97 million. Hosting services and depreciation, so 97 million. They were still profitable on it slightly, but still pretty high percentage of that as well. And then we got general administrative. It went up quite a bit here, 63 million. A part of that was the share-based compensation, and that is down here that I recorded. Stock-based compensation was 23 million of that. So what does that actually come out to be? 23, about 40 million in general administrative plus 23 million in stock-based compensation on top of that. Right, what else do we have here? Realized and unrealized gain losses on digital asset loan, receivable and digital assets was up 30 million here. Changing fair value of derivatives, negative 58, right? So that's I believe that's the FASB rules there being accounted for. And all in all, what else do we have here? Operating income loss was 173 million loss compared to 231 million. So that is an improvement. Bitcoin price has been going up, so that's a good sign there at least. And then they came in at total loss 124 million here because they have income tax benefit of 49 million, looks like, on top of that. So they lost 42 cents compared to 72 cents per share. So that's good there. It's getting better. And if we look at, let's see here, minus depreciation comprehensive income was negative 23 million at that point. If you take out, what are we taking out here? I think we're just taking out cost of depreciation amortization on that one because cost of depreciation amortization was a lot, 101 million here. Okay, so if we take that out, then we're looking at approximately 23 million negative, right? And then if we do without the FSB and depreciation, they're looking at negative 53 million. Stock-based compensation was 23 million. SG&A without stock-based compensation was about negative 40 million. And then without FSB and depreciation and stock-based comp, we're looking at about negative 13 million at that point. So things are looking a little bit better here for them. And I expect them to get much better, especially as things go up. Now, if you look at EBITDA, which is non-GAAP, right, they did still post a positive number on that. So that's good for them at that point. All right, going up here. All right, cost to mine, 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation, right? I'm just looking at the cost of energy and hosting and other things like that. And that's, I'm trying to think if it'd be better if it was broken out for each of these segments here, mining participant, hosting, and then the mining block. But based on that, I'm getting them to around 50 on it. Okay, so that's maybe a little high here. What else do we have here? We're talking about that too. Equity book to value is 2.8. Price to book ratio 2.84. Enterprise value is 6.8. They're valued right now at, what is it, around 8 billion, I think. We'll have to take a look at that. EBITDA came in negative, but they actually posted positive. I think I'm including probably something else in there that they're not. EV to EBITDA was negative 290. Debt to EBITDA was negative 30. Revenue 114. General administrative was 63, so that's 55%. Take out the stock-based compensation, 23 million. That probably brings it down some more, but it's still really high. Even at that point, I think it's still too high. At 40, it would be close to like 28% or something like that. I think that's still too high without the stock-based compensation in there at that point. Okay. What else can I say here on this one? I mean, the big thing for them is they need Bitcoin to go up much higher, right? That's going to help them out with the FSB appreciation on Bitcoin. Revenues will also increase at that point. And yeah, it's basically it. They just continue to grow. All right, a couple of things on the conference call that I thought was interesting. A couple of the questions that came in was regarding their growth in 2025 and their plans in 2025. Fred said he's going to remain mum on that one because of, well, he doesn't want to give his competition where they're going, right? So that's the case there. Maybe we'll get something that after they report the fiscal year end, they might provide some growth at that point. But yeah, other thing is that he said, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, was the HPCI. A question was asked about, I think they hired board members that had HPC AI experience, and the question was around that. Are they planning to do anything in that? And he said, not really, because of the costs associated with it, unless you can get somebody like a deal like CoreWeave with Core Scientific, right? Where you just have the sites and then somebody else comes in with the machines and servers and everything else, and all you're doing is leasing basically the megawatts and the space there, which I agree that's probably the best way to go here. For any of these guys that are getting into HPCI, that's like the golden standard of a deal to possibly get. That way you're not having to spend a lot of money on buying the servers, the HPCs, all that stuff that goes into it, everything else, building out the sites for tier 3 data centers and everything, because that gets very, very costly here. And the thought process behind that is because if you buy the H100s or the H200s or pretty soon the Blackwells that are going to be coming out, right, how fast can you get an ROI on those things? And originally we were talking about earlier this year that on the H100s it would take about 2 years. Now we're talking about 2.5 to 3 years to get an ROI on those things. Whereas the miners, if you get in at the right time, get them at the right price and everything else, you're looking closer to only being maybe 12 to 18 months ROI on those things before you're profitable on them. So huge difference there as well. A lot lower costs also compared to HPC AI setups there. So I'm on the fence on it. I think some of these guys will get some HPCI customers, and hopefully they do those types of deals where it's a Core Scientific and a CoreWeave deal where they're just lending out the infrastructure, the megawatts and things like that, leasing them basically, and making money off of it that way. Because if you got to shell out the money for all that infrastructure and computing and everything else, that gets really, really expensive, and it's going to be really, really hard to get an ROI on those things, I think, especially for the miners that are not as well capitalized as some of the hyperscalers or people that are, companies that are really, really well funded in early stages of their growth, similar to like CoreWeave. But yeah, I think that's it on that one. What else was it? Fred was highly touting their 2-pick systems, the 2-phase immersion cooling systems on there that they are able to get in production right now. With those systems, they can have an increase over 20% overclocking on the ASICs. And then also talked quite a bit about also their partnership with Auradine, which Auradine is building specialized basically ASICs for them for that kind of setup here. So that's kind of interesting as well. But yeah, otherwise, what can you say? Marathon is one of the biggest ones here. I'd like to see operations improve a little bit more from where they are, but maybe we'll get that in time. And yeah, we'll see how they continue to go forward. So we'll see what you guys have to say about them here in a little bit. All right, so that's it on Marathon. Let's take a look at Terawulf really quick as well. So Terawulf reported their numbers as well for Q3. Revenue was 27.1 million and non-GAAP adjusted EBITDA of 6 million for them. And let's see, revenue growth of 42.8% year over year. Operational self-mining capacity as of September was 100% year over year to 10 exahash. They're down from that a little bit now because they sold the one facility. I'm drawing a blank on it right now on the name. Lake Mariner, I believe. Or no, Lake Mariner is their facility. The Nautilus facility, they sold their JV there. On that one, what else do we have here? Bitcoin self-mined 442. Revenue increased to 27.1. We talked about that. Cost, revenue. They had someplace here. It is. Power cost per Bitcoin self-mined was 30,000. So that's actually pretty good for them. I have them at like 33,000. So pretty close to what they're reporting here as well on it. And we'll take a look at it as well up top. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. We've got too many things on my mind. Let's go up here. It's late. I'm tired too, so this doesn't help. But Marathon, here's where I see them right now. Based on the latest number of shares that we have outstanding, right? Currently, I have them between 1563 to 2345. I think they're a little bit overvalued right now, but with Bitcoin going up, they're going to go up much higher than where they are right now. And, eventually the revenues are going to keep up with this going forward for them. If we look at the revenue for October, multiply that times 12, I'm a little bit higher at 1605 to 2407, right? But as Bitcoin price goes up, these guys are going to definitely get a higher multiple to where we could be at 30 or even 40 multiple as things go up, as we've seen it, especially in the past as well. We've seen these guys being 40, 50 PE multiple. So at that point, we're looking at 48.15 to 32.10, somewhere around there for them to be valued properly, right? Especially as Bitcoin goes up. So that's something you have to also take into consideration there. All right, sorry about that. I knew I wanted to show you guys something on this as well. All right, going to Terawulf here. Terawulf also increased their shares a little bit here. They did have a buyback, right? They talked about that, 100 some odd million that they bought back in shares. But they still increased the shares amount from Q2 by a little bit, by a couple million. So they're at 385 million now. And their market cap is about 3.2, well, you could say rounded up to 3.3 billion basically. And the performance here over the last 12 weeks has been fabulous, right? It's been fantastic. The current hash rate is about 8.1. Future hash rate is going to be about 10. They did buy some new miners, it looks like. I have to update my sheet here as well, and that's based on the presentation here for Terawulf. Where is it? Right there. So in here, they did point this out that they are basically swapping out some older miners, getting newer miners, and here it is on page 8. They go about they're buying the S21 Pros, 5,000 here. They're buying some more here as well. Currently, they're buying 7,400 and then adding another 1,400 as well. And they're selling some of these older S19s, 49,000 of those, micro BTs as well, 1,200 of those. And that's kind of what we're getting there for that. So that's going to increase their hash rate to 13.1 exahash going forward as well. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. There was something else that was interesting in here. They're still talking about getting approximately, where was it at? There it is. Somewhere between 1.3 and 1.8 million per megawatt for their HPC data centers. They did speak during the conference call that, well, Paul especially was asked about the probability of them getting a customer there sometime in Q3 or Q4, sorry, that we're in right now. And they were talking about having maybe one or two customers there that are at the advanced stages of, I guess, negotiations there. And they were asked, what's the likelihood? And Paul said basically that they will have at least one customer there. We don't know exactly how much that's going to be of the megawatts that are going to be available, which are going to be between 20 and plus the 50. So it's roughly around 70 megawatts that's going to be available for that in Q1 and Q2 roughly. So we'll see what they get for that. And I'm trying to think what else is there that I heard from it. And they asked him about the growth with Bitcoin mining and things like that. They said, it's still early stages. They still have plenty of time to decide what they want to do going forward, whether they're going to go more towards the HPC AI business or, pour more into the Bitcoin mining as well, depending on the demand that they see from customers going forward. Yeah, which kind of makes sense. You don't want to shoot yourself too early in the foot by going all HPC and then just the customers aren't there. So you want to have really the customers there to then drive the HPC business as well. And if you're not getting that, well, then you can always go back to Bitcoin mining as well. So I think that's fine there. All right. Going down here, all right, last four quarters revenue here has been decreasing to 27 million for Q3. Current quarter, I've estimated about 29 million right now. And then for last four quarters operating costs haven't actually been going down here. So that's kind of good to see. Up a little bit here, but still pretty close to where it was in Q2. So that's looking good here. Custom mine, 1 Bitcoin, I'm at 33. They said 30,000. We're pretty close on that. Bitcoin mine quarterly has been coming down, right? We'll see where they end up here. I'm guessing in Q4, they're going to probably end up down a little bit more as they're swapping machines out and everything else. Debt to equity, much, much better from where they were before, right? They are at 0.089 right now. They paid off their debt, which is fantastic. And then current ratio, higher is better. They're basically at 1 right now. That's still pretty good there. Total current assets, 32.4 million. And then total current liabilities at 32 million. This was as of end of Q3, right? Recently, they did get the convertible notes, I believe it was, for about 500 million. So that's going to look better on their Q4 results as well. Right. Okay. Going over here, we'll look at this while we're at it before I forget about it. Based on the current number of shares outstanding, I'm between 262 and 392, and this is for their Bitcoin mining operations, right? They're way overvalued for that right now, 853. And then going forward, looking at the numbers from October, I'm in between 235 and 352. They're getting valued so much more on their HPC AI potential and hype there that would need to be basically right now right around 30 PE on it. Right, so that's kind of where they're fairly valued at that point, roughly 33. Yeah, if we go up to 40, you can see how much, even at 40, they're still fairly valued at that point. So they're definitely getting a huge premium right now on that. So something to keep in mind mind of on that one. Okay, going down here to the numbers, we'll look at these stats here in a second. Current assets, we talked about that, down to 32 million. The big change here was cash and cash equivalents. That was down quite a bit. In Q3, what else do we have here? Total assets went down a little bit here as well to 405 from 479 million. Total current liabilities went down as well, so that was good there. 32 million, right? We don't have that debt anymore that we had for a while here, because it got pretty high here at the end of fiscal year at Q4 of last year was 123 million. So they did a nice job paying that down. Yes, they did dilute it because of it, and you can see the dilution happening here, where they were at 302 million, 333 million, 382 million, right? They probably had some more dilution happening here, but they bought shares back. Or actually, no, they probably... no, that's being reported as of today. So, yeah, they probably diluted some more in Q3, but this is as of reported today. They bought shares back. That's the reason for that. It's only up a little bit here. All right. Total liabilities covered that. Total stockholder equity is now 405 million, so that's down a little bit, but not bad. Revenues here, self-mining or mining total was 33.9. Self-mining was 27 million. JV revenue was about 6.8, it looks like. Cost of revenue was 14 million. Percentage of self-mine was 0.798. BT self-mine was 442. Okay, operating expenses here. Pretty in line where they were before, down a little bit, 729,000. Operating expenses related party was 856. Selling general administrative was down a little bit, so that's good, 8.5 million. And then related party was 2.9. Depreciation was 15 million, up a little bit here, not too bad though. And then they came in, total cost of operations was 28, pretty close to where they were in Q2 as well. An operating loss was 15.7 million. I'm trying to figure out what that maybe was from. I'm guessing just a decline in revenue here from Bitcoin mining operations on that one. Okay, so going down here, net loss to common stockholders was 23 million negative. That's double from where it was. And then they lost 6 cents per share compared to 3 cents loss per share on that one. Okay, so a little bit more loss here than what we saw before, but they were still non-GAAP EBITDA. They were still in the positive by, what was it, 6 million or something like that. So not too bad overall, given that they haven't been installing much hash rate. It's kind of what we would expect to see, with Bitcoin being flat pretty much in Q3 as well, and network hash rate growing. So kind of what I would expect to see. Now, let's see here. Enterprise value, 3.2 billion right now. Debt to equity covered that as well. Book to value is 372 million. Price to book ratio, 8.8, right? Pretty high. Enterprise value, do we have that twice? Yeah, I do have that in here twice. I do have that in here twice. EBITDA, negative 4 million. EV to EBITDA was negative 822. Self-mining revenue, 27. General administrative was 11 million of that. That probably includes some stock-based compensation in there, I think. Does it include stock-based compensation? Let's take a look here. Oh, did they break that out? I don't think they did. Other income, yeah, I think it's part of it as well. I had to look to see how much that is actually. But that was pretty high on the numbers here. Where was it? 42%. Really would like to see that much lower, way beyond 20 to 15%, if not better than that even. So we'll see how they do, right? The numbers aren't, we knew the numbers were going to be great for a lot of these companies here, especially with EPSs. So it's kind of what we're seeing. We saw Riot being down on EPS, or negative EPS, Marathon negative EPS, Terawulf negative EPS as well. And then we'll just have to see what kind of customer they get for HPC AI business here. That's going to be a big tell there, right? Is the stock properly valued for the potential customer there? If the customer is going to be smaller and it's going to give you that much revenue, then the stock is going to possibly take a little bit of a hit here. But the good thing is that they are still growing. They're improving their fleet efficiency and everything else for Bitcoin mining, and we'll see how they do going forward, basically. I know I'm sounding like we're a broken record here a little bit. But that is it. They're in a much better position than they were last year with the debt being paid off, everything else. And, right now their stock is doing really well. Maybe it might be a good time to kind of pull on the ATM a little bit if they still have an ATM or not. I can't remember if they do. But yeah, that's it. That is it right now. Also, what was there? Oh, I also updated the institutions here. I forgot to do that when we did the operational update for them. They have now 298 institutions, 187 million, 49.3 owned. We still have 5 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings. Price target stayed the same for the high at 10. Average went up to 706 and the low at 5 on it. Okay, so that's it. Highly recommend for you guys to check out these guys. Not only them, but Marathon as well, as far as the presentations are concerned. A lot of great information in there. Also, check over the 10Qs as well. And I did look over those. I did also check to see how many times each one has talked about their HPC AI mentions here. I'm tracking this right now just to see where everybody is at. Right, we've had Cypher report already. Yeah, CORZ Scientific has also reported. So you're seeing a lot more of those mentions here from CORZ Scientific because, well, they have a huge HPC AI deal already with CoreWeave. But Cypher only 9, right? Whereas before 0 across the board here last year, more or less. And then Terawulf here had 22 here. So I looked for HPC, I looked for AI, I looked for high performance computing, I looked for artificial intelligence, and I think that was it. So anytime I found something like that, I added it up, and that's the numbers that we're getting here. So definitely seeing some increases here, at least for Terawulf on that side of the things. But in the past, BitDigital was kind of like the one that was always talking about here consistently, along with Hot 8 here for the most part. And then recently here in Q2, IREN had 354 mentions of it. We'll see how many mentions they have it in Q3 as well. So that'll be interesting to look at that. What else do we have here? Okay. Lastly, we'll take a look at the enterprise value as always on these guys since we have updated pricing for these guys. Where did I miss it? There it is. All right. Here's how things stack up right now. Enterprise value for all these guys. And what do we have here? We still got Terawulf, like I said, way overvalued for Bitcoin mining. HPC AI is why they are priced the way they are. It's potential there. That's nothing concrete yet. Yes, they're saying that they're going to get a customer there this quarter. We'll see what kind of customer that is. And then we'll judge them based on that. But right now, I'm still seeing Bitfarms, Cleanspark, IREN being the most undervalued here. Marathon and Riot are actually kind of tied for each other, tied right now as well. So Cypher's kind of high up there as well. BitDeer, Hot 8, definitely way high up there. And Core I can understand because they have a huge customer with CoreWeave there for the next 12 years. So I can understand that. And yeah, that's it. As always, spreadsheet's going to be available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description if you want to take part in that and get access to all this stuff that I update. I didn't get a chance to update it today for the Patreon members. I was just way too busy at work and way too busy with life, with family, with kids, everything else. It was just a crazy day today. That's why I'm late. So right now, and let me see here. All right, let's see if we can get. I'm not seeing too many comments here, but we'll get into the Q&A anyways. See if something pops up or if my browser hung up on me, which might be the case here. Let me refresh my browser. Hopefully that doesn't break things and doesn't end the stream here. So let's see if we can do that. Refreshing it right now. Bear with me while I do that. And let's go over to the Q&A side of things. Okay, I am seeing comments here popping up. which is good. All right, and there isn't that many, so we should be able to get through these relatively quickly. All right. Where are we at here? All right, here we go. Bitfarms earnings concern, no. That's going to be in the negative EPS. I know that. Okay. Let's see here. Mara down 10% after market because of earnings and Bitcoin drop. That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. All right. Trying to find questions. If you have a question, also if you could start out with a question or Q, question mark, whatever it might be. That way I know it's a question. Okay. Let's see. J King says, looking like miners are going to end up filling the gaps before riding higher, I guess, or hiding higher. Heading higher. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What do you think of altcoins? What about Coinbase? Altcoins, I was playing with altcoins in the prior cycles. This is my third cycle that I've been in. 2017 is when I got into it. So I've been in that one, 2021 cycle, and this is my third cycle that I'm in. So I dabbled with the altcoins in 2017, 2021, and then I said I'm done. Right? I got rug pulled too many times on those. Maybe it was just bad advice or bad research on my part. So I'm not getting back into those things. Coinbase, I think, will do great with Bitcoin going up here. It is kind of like proxy because they're going to generate a lot of revenue on the transactions and all that stuff that's going to be happening here. All right. Let's see here. Are you on every night at the same time? I am not getting notifications. Are there any? Notifications, I usually notify you guys on Twitter is when I'm going live. And then also when I post that I'm going live on YouTube, you guys should get some kind of a notification, I would think. If you have like the notification bell for my profile on YouTube as well, I think. Or on my my YouTube page, if you have that little bell highlighted also, I think that's when you get the notifications as well. But yeah, I go pretty much Sunday through Thursday, sometimes on a Friday, depending if there's like major breaking news. Other than that, I'll take a pause on Friday night, Saturday, and then we go back to business on Sunday night. But tonight, I try to stay, as far as time-wise, I try to be on around 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, somewhere around between there. Sometimes we'll go a little bit faster, but sometimes we'll also go a lot later. Okay. What price do you think appropriate to buy the dip of coin? Oh gosh, I think any dip that you can get right now as we're heading into this bull run on Bitcoin is going to be probably the best you can do right now. Right, so buy the dips right now, and you'll do really good, I think, as long as Bitcoin goes up to where we think it might go, like plus 200,000. Okay. See, J King says, thinking Bitcoin makes a bull flag over the next several days. Possibly, I mean, we just need a break a little bit. We've been on a hot streak here. We've been up 7 days in a row, so we need a little bit of pullback. Okay, let's see. Seb, rate Mara's Q3 results from 1 to 10. We knew they weren't going to be great, right? So as far as revenues kind of were in line with what I thought. I was off by just like 0.0 something % on that. So those were in line. Everything else was kind of in line with what we thought. So Q4 should be much better, I think, for them and for everybody else as well. But how would I rate that? I don't know. I would rate it like maybe a 7, I guess, 7 to 8. I mean, that is what it is. Let's see here. Jerry says, BTC cannot just keep going up right now. It needs to consolidate right around now, or we'll see a huge dump due to the dollar and the BTC both going up. Either one will fall soon. Now, I think we just need a little healthy pullback, which is fine, right? We could see a 10% pullback before everything is said and done, and we go up much higher from there. Okay. Question, are you planning to keep any miners long-term? No. The only one that I think might make sense to hold long-term would be like Core. And the reason is they're going to have huge revenues coming in next year from Core Weave, and that's going to be happening for the next 12 years after that, or 11 years, whatever it might be after that. But they're the only ones I think that might, if we have a similar cycles like before, where Bitcoin goes down 70-80% in the bear market, I think maybe Core, and we'll have to wait and find out, but I think Core might go down not as much, maybe because of all the revenue that they're getting there through HPC AI. All right. covered that. Let's see. So yeah, keep in mind that we just had the halving event. Yeah, I mean things are looking better for them as time goes on. And the way I look at that is basically just on the revenue side of things, right? For them, revenue we knew was going to be coming down, but it's picking back up here. So that is a good sign there. After the halving event, also, I mean, their production, we had the halving in April, right? They're getting close to where they were in April, but I mean, they were doing so freaking well in December. 1,800 BTC, and then, almost half of that was cut for site problems, which was unfortunate. They could have done a heck of a lot better, but at least they're starting to go back up a little bit here. So that's a good sign there. And they're improving. They just need to improve their operational hash rate. Improve their uptime, I guess is what I'm trying to say on that one. All right. Okay. What's Cleanspark all-in cost per BTC, including all expenses? We'll figure that out once they actually report the fiscal year-end numbers for them. But they've been stating that they're like a 27,000, I think, for electricity cost, or I don't think it was for all in cost. It would have been way too low for that. So I think it's just electricity cost. And on top of that, all in, you're looking at maybe like 45, I'm guessing, somewhere around there. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Michael says, looks like a correction going to happen since Trump has almost 2 months to enter the White House being overbought. But I don't think it's because of that. I think it's just Bitcoin's going up, but Bitcoin's always going to be front running things. So I expect a little bit of a correction, right? 5 to 10%, I think, is doable. In fact, we might even see a 20% correction. We've seen that before as well, as Bitcoin's going up in parabolic, right? We saw that in 2021. We saw that in 2017 as well. So that's par for the course here. It's not going to be a straight line up. You're going to get these corrections, which I think are just good buying opportunities if you can get those in. Okay. Question here. Hive announced they are moving forward with Paraguay development yesterday. Do you think that Bitfarms Paraguay FUD is blown out of proportion considering this update from Hive? It might be, right? I talked about that yesterday as well. That, yeah, Hive is still planning to build out there. They broke ground here recently, and they're planning to be, I think, done by Q3 or Q4 of next year with that build out. The FUD around Bitfarms with Paraguay was kind of self-induced, I think, by Bitfarms themselves, by saying that they're going to be moving machines over to Stronghold for hosting. Right at first, they said 10,000 machines, and then like later on, within a couple of weeks, they came back out and said they're adding another 10,000 machines for a total like 4 exahash. It's like, okay, those were slated to go to Paraguay. What's going on there? So they need to answer that, and hopefully Ben answers that question tomorrow. I think he's also going to be on Bryce's and Anthony's channel as well. And I've asked Anthony and Bryce to ask him that question. We'll see if they ask him that. All right. Looks like markets futures are red, which the markets are overbought with a 6-day run. Yeah, we need a pullback a little bit. I'm not too worried about it. Okay. HPC sounds just too expensive. Yeah, if you're doing the build out of the tier 3 data center and then buying the servers, the GPUs, all that stuff, it gets really, really costly fast. That's why I think if Terawulf's going to go for HPC, they need to do something similar to that CORZ is doing, where they're just basically building out the data centers and then leasing them out to companies that will actually put their own HPCs into them. I think that's the best way to go. All right. Let's see. Question: are you less worried about Bitfarms now that going forward will be great, 5 to 7 or more? I still need to see their operational update for November, right? I need to see good hash rate growth there to see how close they can get to their 21 exahash target. But with Bitcoin going up, yeah, I mean, it's going to lift all boats up. Will it lift them up as much as I think it should? Maybe, right? Well, time will tell, I guess, on that one. Okay. Let's see here. I can't believe I just found this channel. Kudos. Oh, thank you so much. Let's see. So what BTC miners are we bullish on? I mean, I would say the top ones here, the ones that I cover the most, right, which are BitDeer, BitDigital, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Cypher. Who else is in there? IREN, Core, Marathon, Riot, Terawulf. I think that's everybody here. That those are all the ones that are bullish on. But then look at the ones that are doing the best growth, things like that. The ones that are undervalued the most right now, which would be Bitfarms, IREN, and Cleanspark. Those might do maybe better going forward. Time will tell. But yeah, definitely thanks for coming in. Okay. All right, question. BTC has gone up a bit. Why are miners lagging? Today, they were lagging a little bit, right? Some of them did end up in the green. Bitcoin was actually in the red at the end of the day today. But just look at the last 7 days. If we look at the last 7 days on the miners, let me see if I can pull this up. On it, you'll probably see a different story here, I think. I haven't checked this, so we're going to do this live here. So if we look at Bitcoin here over the last 7 days, Bitcoin is up quite a bit here. You can see here, we'll do basically Tuesday of last week up to now. Bitcoin's about 32% or something. It's down a little bit now, but towards the peak here, before it started going red, it was about 30%. Okay, let's take a look at Bitfarms really quick. We'll just take a look at a couple of them. So this is Tuesday of last week on that one. From here to where it ended up here today, it's up 59%. Okay, so almost a 2x. Let's take a look at Cypher as well. Cypher from Tuesday, that's Wednesday, Tuesday's here, to the peak here, it went up 50% as well, right? So pretty much almost a 2x. Cleanspark, look at it this way as well. From Tuesday, from the bottom here to the top, it was up 75%. So you can see that the miners are outperforming Bitcoin here, but it depends on the timeline that you're looking at. Yes, if you're looking at a longer time frame, a lot of these guys have underperformed Bitcoin here recently because of the halving event. That's also been a big factor to that. But if we look at Marathon here, was it at Monday, Tuesday. So Marathon was up 61%, right? Bitcoin's up 30%, whatever it was. These guys are doing double, which is kind of what we would expect, at least at the bare minimum for them to do. So it's just all depends on time frames. Okay. Ryan says, that seems like generous revenue per megawatt number for Wolf. Yeah, I would have to run the numbers on CORZ, see what CORZ is getting per megawatt on that. I know CORZ is what, 500 megawatts, right? That includes all the ancillary services as well with cooling and things like that. And they're getting, what, like 500, 600 million? So it's pretty close to that, I think. Let's see. Doesn't Bitfarms' performance depend on Riot? Well, that's the big elephant in the room, right? How much of an impact does Riot owning 19.9% of the stocks there have an impact on Bitfarms shares? I think it's an overhang, possibly, because the fear could be also that if Riot decides to sell, well, that's going to have an impact on Bitfarms shares. Okay. Yeah, Ryan says, hell of a hype. Wolf is super over. Yeah, I mean, based on Bitcoin mining, yeah, they're way overvalued on that. Okay. Let's see. All right. Victor, question, is this a good time to enter Bitfarms? How close are they to achieving their exahash? We don't know. I don't know. We'll find out maybe tomorrow, whether it's going to be through Bryce and Anthony's channel when they do the interview with them or when they do the conference call. We might get an answer on that one. But regardless, I think even if they're late by a month and a half or something like that, that wouldn't be too bad. If they're going to be late 3 to 4 months to get to 21 exahash, okay, that's a little bit more concerning there. But I think right now they're still way undervalued from where they really should be. That's not going to change here, but unless they can get to 21 exahash by, until like the second quarter of next year, that would be rough. Question, shouldn't miners run front run? They are lagging. BTC has passed all-time high. Most miners are not at highest of 52-week average. Yeah. For the 52-week average, I do have that number here as of last week, at least as of Friday. I don't have it as of Monday today. But you can still see that a lot of miners have actually, go back here, have outperformed Bitcoin in the last 52 weeks. Right? They're still not to where they should be at their all-time highs. Right, they would be actually much higher, especially like Cleanspark is still 45% away from their all-time high, which was like $24, whatever it was this year. Right, they're only at like $15 right now, so they're still quite a ways away, but they have outperformed Bitcoin here in the last 52 weeks. Right, the only ones that haven't outperformed Bitcoin is Marathon, Hive, and Riot, actually this past 52 weeks. So miners have, for the most part, done better than Bitcoin, even though they haven't gone up to the 52-week highs yet. So take that into consideration as well. All right, go back there. All right, let's see here. Seb, who are the miners most capable of successful HPC AI contracts? Thanks. I mean, Terawulf has a great facility there where they're located, or a great location possibly. Right, so that I think has a big benefit to them. I think they have redundant power there as well. They have, fiber cable as well, or fiber internet at that location, so that's good there. A lot of water as well. They're close by to water, so they got plenty of water for cooling if they need that. So I think that one's good. Cypher has some sites as well that might be pretty good for that. IREN has sites as well. And then you got Bitfarms talking about it here that maybe in 2025, towards the end of 2025, into 2026, they might have some potential there as well with the site in, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it's Pennsylvania. So there's a couple of companies that do have potential there. It's just, will they get the customers? So that's a big question there, right? We've been hearing all this hype around it, and it's just like, okay, Core got a great customer there. BitDigital's been doing their thing, but everybody else is kind of quiet about it. So definitely need to see some announcements on that. Okay, Albert, nicely done here. 500,000 on Wolf. Way to go. Talking about, let's see, Michael says Trump has 45 to 50 days before taking office, and the correction should take place like any other asset. Yeah. Seb, are you saying Mara is overvalued? I'm saying based on where they are right now, but I understand that with Bitcoin going up in value, that's going to change. That's why I use the multiple, right, to increase that multiple, because that's going to definitely increase here. Let's see. Are you buying anything? I am looking to buy. We'll see if we have a little pullback tomorrow. If we do, I may pull a little bit. Okay. Where can I check price after hours? I think if you have, what's it called? Robinhood app. You can check it there, I believe. There might be some other places you can check it out as well. All right. Okay. I just joined, so I don't know if you already answered it, but what are your predictions for Cleanspark around the beginning of 2025 as far as price is concerned, or like hash rate growth? Price is going to be dependent on where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin's closer to 100,000 or above 100,000. I think we could be above $20, $25 at that point. Right, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Will Bitfarms get pumper after earnings? Yeah, I don't know. Or pumped after earnings. I don't know. I think that's kind of priced in already. Okay. Thoughts on MicroStrategy versus miners extract today with Alfred and group. I only listened for a little bit, like for half an hour of it. It was on my lunch break that I was able to listen to it. I agree with Mike on a lot of the things that he had to say regarding MicroStrategy and the miners, especially now as we're going into the bull run here. I think the miners will outperform MicroStrategy. But that is yet to be seen, right? Historically, that's been the case. We'll see if that continues going this time around as well. Let's see here. Hey, Seb, has Ben replied? No, Ben's been quiet. Okay. Seb, can you ballpark where Bitcoin has to be for miner stock prices to double from here for Cleanspark and IREN? To double from here? I think Bitcoin has to be like 50% higher from where it's at right now. So we're looking at what? Closer to 120,000, maybe 115, 120,000, somewhere around there, I would guess. And that's being maybe more towards on the higher end side. I think it might take less than that for the miners to double. All right. Do you think Riot sells some Bitfarms shares by the end of the year? They haven't hinted at doing so. They might. I think they're pretty happy with the board arrangements there. We'll see when they get the vote. The vote's coming up here. When's the vote? Like the 20th, and I know it's like towards the 20th that they're having the board there. The vote for the board to add another 6th seat to it, which would be of Riot's preference there. And at that point, if they're satisfied with it, they might end up selling. All right. Let's see your question. Hey, Seb, thanks for all the great content. Oh, thank you very much. I've been a regular viewer for nearly 1 year. Could you please state your price target for Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and IREN? Yeah, and that's going to change as we get new updates for shares outstanding for these guys. But right now I'm thinking, and I was thinking actually this for a long time, Cleanspark around $60 to $70, Bitfarms $10 to $20, and IREN somewhere around $70 to $80, I think. But if that's based on Bitcoin going to 180,000 roughly. If Bitcoin goes past that to like 200, 250,000, then we could be even higher than that potentially. But it depends on how much they dilute here. So we'll get Bitfarms numbers tomorrow, how many shares they have outstanding. IREN is set to report also this week or next week, I can't remember. And then Cleanspark might be the last one to report because they're doing the fiscal year end numbers for them. Okay. Yeah, so when is IREN's report? Do you think they will have a pullback like Mara seems like a trend nowadays? They might have a pullback depending where Bitcoin's at. If Bitcoin's going up and going up good, they might not have a pullback, but I think they're going to have, I think they're still going to have a negative EPS, I think. And that's mainly because of the depreciation and things like that. When are they going to report? I think like next week, I think. I don't think they even put it out yet, so, but they should report somewhere around there. In a parabolic BTC cycle, the earnings not important. Keep in safe. More BTC is more important, don't you think? Keeping safe, more BTC is more. So the more BTC you have, yeah, I think that's also important. Growth is also important. I think if you look at Q4 papers, Wolf has no BTC in the safe. Is it? No, it doesn't have any BTC. No. So like, yeah, Wolf is just being valued on HPC AI Hive right now. All right. Let's see. So Mara is overbought right now. It looks like, I guess from the news, there was FOMO. Okay. Based on my numbers, yeah. I mean, based on my numbers here, I think it's looking better valued. But again, as we go into FOMO and Bitcoin goes up like crazy here, all these numbers that I have for the guys, 20 P multiples, those are going to increase. Those are going to have to increase because last cycle they were getting 30, 40 PE multiples on it. But if we just look at this going forward, I think Marathon is still undervalued for future hash rate growth along with Riot, right? These guys especially here, but these guys are a little bit overvalued, and some more so than others, unfortunately. But it is what it is. What do they say? Market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent, I think, something like that. So, yep, that's kind of where we're at with it. Going back here. Okay. Ian says, just got here. We'll review stream. Thanks. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. What else we got here? Question. IREN was looking really good 4 to 5 months ago. Do they have any issues with construction now? No, they're at 20 exahash or 21 exahash right now. They're supposed to get to 31 exahash by the end of the year. I think they're going to be fine. The halving event knocked a lot of the miners down from where they were. And then the ones that were talking about HPC AI hype and things like that, those really caught a bit. And I think there was some rotation happening from some of the other miners into the HPC AI plays as well. Doge versus Bitcoin, which is better? Bitcoin. What else we have here? Okay. I'm new here. Does he own all Bitcoin miners? And is this a swing trade plays during the BTC bull run? Who's that? I don't own all of them. I only own, right now I only own Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and IREN. And then I also own WGMI, my 401 profit sharing plan. I don't swing trade them. I buy and hold. I've been buying these guys since, when was it been? January of 2022. So I've been buying them all the way down and all the way up as well. And I'm still holding. I've been buying more. Last time I bought was about 3-4 weeks ago. All right. All right. Question, Seb. There's some chat on X saying the miners might make only 3 to 4x any more hopium. What do you think? Depending where Bitcoin goes. Even at 3 to 4x and some of these guys, if you get 4x on Marathon was at 25. It's probably down a little bit now in after hours, right? But even if you get 4x at 20, you're looking at $80. It's back to where it was in the previous all-time high. Some of these other guys as well. I mean, it's supposed to be 15, so if you get a 4x on it, that's kind of line where I was thinking, $60 to $70 on it. So I'll take that all day long, right? But I mean, you also have to take a look at where they bottomed out at, and from the bottom, how high did they go, right? Because last time, if you look at Marathon last cycle, from where Marathon bottomed out and where it got to $80, it was like 70x return. It was crazy. All right, so you also have to take a look at that. Yes, as Bitcoin price goes up and their prices goes up, yes, the X multiple are going to decrease. That's just, law of math at that point. Right. Emma says, hi, my average for Riot is 13. Do you think I should sell it? Would there be any other lower support Riot would touch in near future? Please answer. Thanks. I'm not a chart guy for the most part. Let me see. Where's Riot? There it is. All right, let's take a look at Riot. Support, you probably have support here around 12, 13, kind of where you got in on average. From what I'm seeing here, at least where it bounces a lot of times, right around in this area. And then, we might have some resistance here at 18, right around 18 it looks like. And then possibly around, 18 to 19, I would say there might be some resistance there. But right now, it's definitely pulled back. I got to 16, 14. Be patient. Don't try to swing trade these if you don't have to, unless you're really not happy with the stock for whatever reason. But even then, with Bitcoin going up here in the next, 6 to 9 to 12 months, whatever it's going to be, these guys, even if they get 4x on Riot, you're still going to look at $60. That's 4x. Where else can you get 4x in the markets, really, unless you really get lucky on something or you hold something for, 10, 20 years? Then maybe, yeah, but it's, those are really, really good gains. So nothing to sneeze at. All right, going back here. Ian says our crypto market needs a rest. 7 days up, 14,000. Yeah, it's definitely been a nice week here. Nice 7 days. Sadie, thank you so much. Yeah, likes help the channel. Appreciate it. Let's see. Ian says, 210 watching, 50 likes. Give some love. Much appreciated. All right. Trying to catch up with some questions. What do we have here? KC says, Special will always have an excuse for miners not moving with Bitcoin, as he claimed would happen every single video. Dude never admits miners don't move 4 to 5x like everyone is in their mother said. Okay. Well, we could go to, but we're still early, right? Give it time, I would say. Let's see where they end up at the end of the cycle. And then we can see if they don't go 4 to 5x or, typically I say 3 to 4x on top of Bitcoin. But yeah, look at the performance of the miners here. Let me pull this up. Let's see here. Where was it at? Stock performance here. Righty here. That's as of, let me see here. I don't have I don't have Bitcoin in here, do I? I don't. All right. Well, again, we can look at the weekly numbers here. And we can see that some of these guys are up, at least a 2 to 3x on top of Bitcoin. You can see that IREN's up at least 3x on Bitcoin, more or less. Cleanspark about 2.5x. And this is still after the halving event, which we haven't really peaked into the bull run yet. So be patient, give it time. I think you'll be surprised by it, how well we do. All right, going back here. All right. What else we got? Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. C definitely has a issue with me. It looks like no submission. You twerp. We don't want 2x. You said 4 to 5x 100 times. Now you're saying 1 to 2x. Miners are going also up. You have to take that into consideration. There's so many variables in this. You can't just be set in one variable, I guess you could say. There's multiple variables that go to play here. Bitcoin price, network hash rate, difficulty. Then you also have stocks, number of stocks that they have, number of shares, right? All of that plays into it. We also have to look into where Bitcoin's at right now, where the miners are at right now, and price, everything else. Things are fluid. Nothing is static here with these miners. But overall, depending when you got into it, if you got in at a higher price, yes, you're probably not going to get 10x on these guys. You're looking more like 3 to 4 or 5x, and I think that'd be great. Some of them might also do 7 to 8x. I'm trying to be conservative here. I don't want to be a moon boy. If you want a moon boy, there's plenty of other channels for that. Okay. Crypto Center says my wolf position is up 4x. How is he making excuses? Yeah, I mean some miners are up 4x, some are up 3x, some are up 2x, but we're still in the early stages of the bull run. Okay. Let's see. Crypto says, yeah, if you buy in late, yeah, you aren't going to get 45x. Yep. Okay. Mara can dip back to $13, you think? I don't think so. Not unless we have like a 20-30% per correction in Bitcoin. Okay. All right. Question. Okay. Here we go. What average price does Bitcoin need to be for 50% of miners to be profitable? For 50% of the miners? Not sure I understand that question. 50% of the miners to be profitable. I think Bitcoin just needs to be at the right around 90,000 to like 100,000. A lot of these guys will be profitable. All right. Alrighty. It's here. Okay. What's your opinion on Hive? Do you recommend to invest in it? I had Hive from 2017 through 2023 last year when I sold it back in November, so right around this time. And the reason I sold it was I wasn't seeing the growth. Now, the operation side of things, uptime, all that stuff was great, fantastic, right? They always place like in the top 5 of the miners for the most part, but just the growth. We were seeing miners like Cleanspark come out of nowhere, beat the pants off of these guys and others as well. Growing IREN, same thing. So I was looking for miners that were really growing and executing well on their growth. And Hive was not that. Hive has stated before in the past that they want to maintain about 1% to 2% at most, I guess, of the network hash rate. That's not, for me, that's not aggressive enough, I think. And, Bitcoin going up, they will go up in value as well because Bitcoin going up will lift all boats. So, but I think there's other miners that will do better. Okay. Let's see here. Hey, Sib, thanks for the great content. Could you also please target price of IREN? Yeah, I already talked about that earlier. So I probably should preface this. You guys need to be a little bit patient. I do have a lot of questions I need to get through. I will get through them. I know you guys are probably looking to go to bed. What time is it? It's almost 12 o'clock here as it is. So I'm going to try and run through these here really quick. Okay, let's see here. Hey, Seb, I may have missed this, but I saw Mara all-in cost per BTC is super high. How come? They still... With the sites they just bought now, they're going to be about 65% infrastructure owned, and the 35% is going to be still hosted. So with the hosting, you're going to be paying a higher fee on it. So that's, I think, why it's been coming down. It's been getting better. But the other part of it is also their operational uptime hasn't been great. So if they could improve that, that should reduce costs as well overall. Network hash has been increasing. There's a reason for it all as well. So there's a couple of reasons why. Okay. Question said, a few months ago, a few mining YouTubers were saying this cycle is 6 months faster than the last one. Do you recall something like that? If so, should we expect between February and May? Thank you for it to end. Yeah, I do recall some saying that this might be a faster cycle. What do they call it? Right-leaning or left-leaning? I can't remember what they terminology used for it. But they were saying that based on the simple fact that we had... Bitcoin reaching new all-time high before the halving event. And the ETFs, I think, as well. But I don't think it's going to be at the end of March. Also, based on that, I think the power law was saying that it's going to be around March, I think. So that was maybe one of the reasons as well. All right. Let's see. Hey, Seb, if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, is it important more earnings or having more BTC like MicroStrategy? And which miners look like MicroStrategy? I mean, Marathon's like the next MicroStrategy potential, right? They have 27,000 Bitcoin right now as it is. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. In the past, the miners were more of a proxy on Bitcoin because you couldn't get it through an ETF. You didn't have MicroStrategy even back then. MicroStrategy was getting into it a little bit, but not as badly as they are now into it. So basically, if you wanted to get Bitcoin on exchanges or something like that, you had to buy the miners at that point. So they were more of a proxy, I think, to Bitcoin at that point. How much of a proxy will it be this time around? I'm not sure on that. Will it benefit them? Sure. The FASB rules are going to benefit them because of it, especially Bitcoin is going up. So I think there will be some benefit, but it's going to be as big of a benefit as last time. That I don't know. Okay. Question here. Wouldn't it be better for Riot to sell Bitfarms at 10? Yeah, you would think. Riot still has a really good balance sheet anyways. They don't really need the cash. They don't need it. Why use it or why sell it when you can write it up potentially? Oh, excuse me. Let's see here. Mara and Cleanspark hold a good amount of BTC. Yeah, Marathon has 26,700. Cleanspark's got about 9,000. Hut 8 has about 9,000. And Riot has about 10,000, something like that. So there's quite a few of those that still have a lot. All right. What would Bitfarms share price if Bitcoin reaches 100,000, 150, 200, 250,000, 300? Thanks in advance. Oh my gosh. Good way to look at it is I would think that at 100,000, it might be like $3, right? We're not too far away from 100,000 as it is right now. So I would say $3.50 somewhere on there. 150,000, you're looking at more like $7 to $10 at that point. And if we're getting to 200,000 at that point, I'm thinking between 10 and 20. And if we're getting like 300,000, we're probably looking at like $30 for it. Somewhere around there, 30 if not higher. Okay. All right, what else we got here? Okay. Roger says, how should I be valued? What it is right now, market is too goofy. Yeah, it's based on the HPC potential there. Okay. Question, why is Hive 0 for HPC AI mentioned? Aren't Hut 8 and Hive the only two HPC AI in Canada? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question there. You're talking about the mentions on the HPC AI. Going over here on this one. Yeah, Hive has been 0 for some reason. I don't know if they're calling it something else. We'll see what they report in Q3 here. See if there's any mentions of it. But they've been talking about it here in the last couple of months that they are, looking to grow their HPC business potentially. But Hut has, been mentioning it for a while here. But they also have data centers, which Hive didn't have before. So I think that's maybe the reason why for it. Right, going back here. Okay, let's see here. Question: did you say Riot is satisfied with the board? They might be end up. They might have said, am I missing something? It doesn't seem to make sense. Yeah. Remember, one of the things was one of the concerns that Riot raised and Jason and company was that the Bitfarms board was dysfunctional. Right? They wanted to make change to the company. Well, they also wanted to buy it out. But seeing that they're not going to be able to buy it out at the price that they want, they wanted to make changes, which they did, which they thought they could get more company or more board members on there to then be more pro selling the company to Riot, but that's not going to happen now. So I think Jason has also come out that the board has definitely improved at Bitfarms, which is good. So if they're satisfied with the board at Bitfarms, and they're not looking to be an activist investor, they might sell. But they might also hold on to one until Bitfarms is at, $8, $10 or something and then sell. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. Riot hitting resistance. Let's see what else we got here. Riot is pretty disappointing. Okay. Let's see. I used to be happy with 10% APY on my retirement account. Now everybody's wanting 4 or 5x on their retirement accounts. What else? Okay. Question, Seb, you're a star. Thank you. Oh, well, that wasn't a question. Well, thank you. Let's see here. All right. When will Bitcoin go to about 15,000, about March or September? We don't know. 15,000? That's not going to happen. I think the lowest is going to go in the next bear market, if we have one, is going to be, my original estimate was going to be about 48,000, but seeing that this might be a different cycle, we might be a little bit higher than that. I'm getting close to the bottom here. Let's see. All right. Are you buying Bitfarms and willing to take the risk and lose the money because your winners can cover you? AKA IREN, Cleanspark. I don't see how you bought and vouched so heavily for Bitfarms. No, it's just I was seeing the same thing with Bitfarms as far as operations are concerned. Growth, at least. They were talking about growth, but we didn't get it here to 12 exahash, so that was a little disappointing here. But they're not the only ones that have done that where they missed on growth. and eventually done really well here. But I was seeing the same types of things I was seeing with CleanSpark and IREN. I saw that ambition, that drive to grow, right? To be like one of the top miners here potentially. So that's the reason why I invested in them. Without obviously knowing all this that's happening with the board, we just don't have that access to it. So we found that out, but it's still based on everything else that I was seeing. Data, metrics, everything that I do, it's all based on that. I could be wrong on it. I'm still up. I mean, I'm up right now the same as I am on IREN. I'm up like as of, well, today I was up like 50%, I think, total on Bitfarms, and IREN was a little bit higher, like 55% on it. So, and then CleanSpark, I'm up 250% on it. So, right. I probably should just put everything into CleanSpark instead of trying to diversify and going to IREN and then Bitfarms as well. But those two are kind of the same right now. All right. Ryan says Hive is the most responsible, slow grower. Yeah, I would agree with you 100% there. Okay. Question is, Mara buy if it goes to 10 to 15% low today? Yeah, I mean, if you still believe the Bitcoin cycle is going to get much better for us, right? We're going to go to 100, 150,000, maybe 200,000, 250,000. Then yeah, I mean, if you can get at these prices, heck yeah. Price target for CleanSpark at BTC 150,000. That's going to be closer probably to like $40, $50 at that point, I would imagine. My original target was around 180,000 for Bitcoin, and CleanSpark getting to like $60, $70 at that point. Let's see. Bitfarms negative EPS. You said, yeah, that's going to be negative. How negative? That I don't know. It depends on how much they put down for depreciation, and they usually don't do a lot of stock-based compensation, so that shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I would expect it to be, some negative there. Let's see. Andres says, Sebastian, thank you for all your content you do. This is an amazing channel, and your content is AAA. Thank you. I appreciate it. Will Riot reach $30 a cycle? Yeah. Bitcoin gets above 150,000? Heck yeah. Okay. Based on where things are going, what's your price expectation for Bitfarms by the end of the year? I mean, if Bitcoin gets to 100,000, it's only 12,000 away. It could do that in a couple of days if I wanted to. So we could be actually even higher than that. But just say it goes to 100,000, I would expect Bitfarms to do at least, get closer to like $3, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit higher than that. Let's see here. Ian says, this channel is for confirming my research. Well done. Thank you. How high Bitfarms can do at BTC 100, 150,000? Looking at, like I said, $3 to $4 right around there, around $100 if things go well for us. And then 150,000, you're looking closer to like, I would think around $10. 200,000, you're looking at closer to like $20 at that point and higher. Somewhere around there. Okay. All right. Isn't it true that the FCBS rules SBCA rules, I think those are called, will take a full accounting year to kick in before showing in the results? No. The miners have been already using it, actually. They've been using it. You could start using it early, and they've been using it for about a year now, I think. Let's see here. Ahmed says, have a good night, Seb. You're reaching S point where you can't answer a question, especially after the P1 we hear about every day. Cheers, bud. Yeah, have a good night, buddy. We're getting close. I'm going to close this up because it's already 12:10, and I got to get to bed, and I got to go to work tomorrow, just like you guys do. Okay. Why isn't IREN pumping as much as others? Is it due to not hot? That could be part of it. But they've been doing pretty well here recently. Bitcoin going up. They've been up nicely as well. Maybe not as high as some of the other ones, but yeah, they've been doing pretty good. How high can Bitcoin reach, or how high can Mara reach if Bitcoin goes to 250,000 in CleanSpark? I mean, geez, you're looking over $100 at that point, I would imagine. Okay. Okay, covered that already. Okay, what is your selling plan on the miners? I'm looking to start DCing out at 10% sells based on when BTC hits certain price targets. I'm kind of thinking the same thing, right? 5, 10%. I'm thinking probably on the lower end than the 5%. But I'm looking to probably start dollar cost averaging out when Bitcoin's above 125, close to 150,000, something like that. And then just slowly, as Bitcoin goes up, 5%, 10%, I'll sell some more at that point. Excuse me, because I don't know where the top's going to be. And that's fine with me. As long as I can get, close to the top, and after the top, be out of it, I'm going to be extremely happy. So that's the plan. What else here? Okay, let's see. Can you compare the performance of IREN and Bitcoin? Wondering why IREN is lagging so badly and one of the quickest to dump. Yeah, we can even do that on the charger for Bitcoin. I think that might make it easier here. Hold on, pull that up. Pull this screen up here, and let's take a look at it here. Let's do IREN. IREN same as scale. Okay. So this is going back to basically March of this year, right? You can see where it outperformed Bitcoin quite by a bit. So IREN's this, what is this? Purple line. And here currently, if you look at a year out, 1 year out, we can see here that Bitcoin is up 134%. IREN is up 314% from a year, last year, right? At that point. If we look at year to date, it's pretty close. 82% for IREN, 105% from Bitcoin. We had the halving event. That's a major catalyst as well that drives the price down on these guys. 6 months here. In the 6 months, IREN's up 150%. Bitcoin's only up 41%, right? You're getting almost a 4x there on that one. 3 months, IREN's still outperforming 65, Bitcoin 46%. 1 month, 56%, 37%. So it's still outperforming. It's just depending on when you look at it. 5 days. On the 5 days, it's definitely not doing that great. It's up 1.89%. Bitcoin's up 13% the last 5 days. And then last day, we're probably going to be down anyways. I don't even see where IREN's at that point. So sometimes you have to zoom out a little bit, I think. All right, let me delete that. Go back to my 6 month view. All right. Go back up here. All right, let's go back here to Q&A. All right, let's see, question. Trump has mentioned a few times that he wants BTC to be mined in the U.S. Aren't you supposed to be more bullish on a company like Riot over IREN? IREN has operations here in the United States. It's not that they're mining in Australia. So they're mining here in the United States. They have majority of their, like probably 95 or some 90% of their operations in the United States. So it would be Bitcoin mining in the United States. Okay. Okay. Question: Hut and Wolf say HPCI and the price explodes. IREN, one of the better performing miners, actually buys lots of GPUs and nothing happens. I don't get it. It all depends on, yeah. I mean, that's because we know what IREN's doing. They're buying the A6 or not the A6, the GPUs, and then they're going to be using them to basically provide that compute to customers, right? So they're looking for those types of customers there, which aren't that many. Well, there's some, right? But I think that's the challenging part. I think maybe investors are looking for large, like, 10, 20, 50, 100 megawatt deals and things like that. Whereas IREN right now has these small types of deals. A couple months, we want to see these large deals and long time frames, I guess. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here. Karen, thank you so much for the super sticker. Okay, that's just a quote there. All right, we're getting close. Okay. Hey, so what is your take on Bitfarms and CORZ? The BTC is 150,000. I mean, CORZ is a little bit more tricky because they're being valued more on their HPC deal with CoreWeave, right? They still have 20 megawatts or 20 exahash right now. They're supposed to be increasing that a little bit, but we don't know when. But Bitcoin 150,000, I could see them being at least a double or triple from here, maybe. For sure, Bitfarms should be closer to like $10 to $15, $20 somewhere around there at that point, I would think. Okay. All right. Which one will grow higher percentage-wise, Bitfarms or CORZ? All things being equal, I would think Bitfarms would grow a little bit more because they've been just so undervalued here recently. But that doesn't always play out the way I think, right? CORZ, I think if CORZ came out and said that they are increasing their hash rate, getting those block miners, when they're getting those in, and then what they're going to actually get their hash rate to afterwards, because I know they want to replace some of the older machines as well. So that would be little bit more telling as far as where things would go. Okay, let's see. I heard that miners will pump late or early by not following Bitcoin pump. Is that true? Historically, the miners in a massive bull run like we're about to get into, they usually front run Bitcoin actually. So they'll usually top out anywhere between 7 to 12 days in advance of Bitcoin actually does. At least historically that's happened. So that's kind of what I'm expecting right now as well. All right. Michael says miners will be down tomorrow by the red that I'm seeing. Could possibly be it. I think that might be actually pretty good here, depending on how red they are. All right, guys. I'm all caught up to all your guys' questions here and gals. So it's late, 2:17. Got to get some sleep. So I appreciate you guys very, very much for coming in here, especially this late of an hour doing these things. So really appreciate you guys. Love you all. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow, Bitfarms is reporting. I don't know if anybody else is reporting, and we'll see what happens. I think we have some economy data coming out tomorrow also. But we'll look at all that and everything else that happens tomorrow. So thank you again. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.